We are talking with Cliff Shuster, We Act Radio's own Cliff Shuster. And Cliff, speaking of 18th century mindset, there was Senator Jeff Flake who voted against background check legislation for guns, now saying that, well, he actually does support background checks. And same thing that Kelly Ayotte, the new Republican from New Hampshire, the NRA has actually taken out an ad saying that she supports background checks, even though they both voted against them.
Is it sort of game, set, and match when the NRA thinks they have to put ads out that are lies? I mean, that's all the NRA does, for someone and say, no, she really does support background checks because she voted for this other bill put out by Chuck Grassley that would have actually weakened the standards by which someone who is suffering from dangerous mental illness can be kept from buying guns. So they would want more Adam Lanzas, more James Holmes, more people like that to get their hands on guns. And this is a key thing, too, because when Wayne LaPierre is talking about his, that the world that he lives in, the terrorists lying in wait, and the criminals and people coming to rape you, no, that's not really the world we live in. Things have gotten a lot safer. Crime has gone way down. But the few terrorists that are out there, the few criminals that are lying in wait, the few rapists, Wayne LaPierre and his people have made it 1,000 times easier for them to get their hands on guns, 1,000 times easier for them to use those guns by blocking background checks, by closing the terror gap, where somebody who's on a terror watch list who can't get on an airplane can still go buy a 50 caliber rifle that can take one down. What happened in Boston? Guess who it is who blocked putting tag-ins into black gunpowder so they could have traced within hours where those explosives came from? It's Wayne LaPierre and the NRA, who did it right after Oklahoma City, helping Oklahoma City terrorists and others like them. So understand that Wayne LaPierre's world is a crazy one and doesn't exist, but the few guys that are out there like Wayne LaPierre, that Wayne LaPierre's freaking out about, he's the one personally who's responsible for handing that assault weapon over to them and handing those explosives over to them that we can't trace. That's him and his organization.
Cliff, we got news over the past week that there is a gun rights organization that wants to have a march. They're planning a march in Washington, D.C. on July the 4th, not just any sort of ordinary march, but they are telling their members to bring loaded weapons with them and to march through the streets of Washington, D.C. carrying their loaded weapons, loaded rifles. Now, there are a couple problems with this. First of all, it is illegal in Washington, D.C. to have these sort of to carry weapons that are loaded under these circumstances. So that's the first problem. The secondly is, Cliff, you've been to D.C. I don't think that police, Secret Service will take very kindly to anybody marching anywhere near the Capitol, the White House, or anywhere in Washington for that matter, a group of people, and there's almost 1,000 so far that are planning to march, carrying loaded weapons.
No, look, let's hope they just cart them all off and take them all off to prison. I would say Guantanamo would be better, but I guess that's another conversation. I went to one of these open carry rallies they held right across the water in Virginia a couple of years ago where it's allowed. I mean, it makes you wish these guys had better genetics and maybe were a little bit bigger downstairs, if you know what I'm saying, because they walk around with their enormous guns and they feel all manly and tough because they're so frightened of the world, and they probably have really big sports cars too, I'm sure. I mean, my God, I mean, what is wrong with these people? What is wrong when a gun becomes an extension of your identity and who you are? There are plenty of places where people safely, reasonably use rifles to hunt and other things like that, and no one's taking that right away from them. But these guys who are like the gun literally is a part of their body, it's got to make you wonder, again, what's not going on? What's not working for them? Maybe that is in lieu of the Cialis commercial. I'm not sure.
Well, Cliff, I want to help these folks because I want to let them know, and I've seen these folks as well, and I just want to advise them that the mullet haircut went out in the early 1980s. I'm just saying.
Hockey hair is not big these days off the hockey rink, David.
Oh, my goodness. Cliff Shuster, it is always a pleasure talking with you, my friend. I appreciate it, as always, and have a terrific weekend.
You too, buddy. Always great talking to you. Fantastic show, and thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, Cliff Shuster from We Act Radio. Folks, Daniel Marantz is going to take us through the next hour, and I just want to give a special reminder to everybody who's listening in Chicago or Columbus or Michigan or Oklahoma or listening to us on WPWC in Washington, D.C. If you've liked any part of this program, but you can't stick around for the next 2 hours, or you missed part of the first hour, and we had a fascinating interview with Charlie Mitchell about what you can do to influence some of the legislation in Congress, go to Take Action News TV on YouTube. It's really easy. Go to youtube.com, enter in Take Action News TV, click the subscribe button. One step, click the subscribe, and then highlights of the show will be sent to your inbox free of charge every day. And you can just click on and watch at your convenience. It's a great way to keep up with the show. and keep up with the news at your convenience. We're all about convenience and making it easy for you to influence outcomes on your time and not on ours. We're going to pause, take another commercial break. Daniel Marin says the next hour you're listening and you're watching to Take Action News on We Act Radio.